think it clearly shows inflation is easing, not just in India but globally as well. What has helped probably is India buying Russian oil at a cheaper cost, because India's biggest import bill is oil, right? So I think that's helping, and food prices across, the rise in food prices is easing as well. The May print will come out soon, and that is also supposed to show inflation at about 20-month low, which means we have passed the war-driven price pressures.
Right, Rahul, RBI has also lowered the inflation forecast for 2023-2024 to 5.1%. Does this mean that we can see a rate cut in August this year?
I think it's too early to call a rate cut, especially because other major central banks like the RBI, the Reserve Bank of Australia and Bank of Canada, raised rates this week. And while the Fed is expected to hold rates next week, in July, the markets are pricing in a rate hike. So I think we cannot really write off rate hikes at this point, even for India, because if you look at inflation, it's still above 5%. And the RBI's mandate is to keep it close to 4% with a 2% up or down in extreme situations, not on a regular basis. So in the medium term, the RBI has to see that inflation is about 4%, with probably 2% upper side, only in case of situations like we saw last year with the Ukraine war, right? So inflation is still high, over 5%, despite the lowering from 5.2 to 5.1%. So a rate cut in August seems very unlikely, a pause possibly. The RBI has also left the door open for a rate hike like the other central banks have. So it is becoming tougher to call, and it's becoming more volatile to call any kind of a change in rate path at this point. The best case scenario would be for rates to remain on hold for now.
Right, last question, Rahul. The pause in rate cut comes at a time when central banks are continuing with a tighter monetary policy. Does this mean that India's economic fundamentals are strong at the moment?
On a comparative basis, yes. India seems to be growing at a much faster pace than the rest of the world. But the risk remains of higher rates outside as well, because that's going to tamp down demand for Indian goods and also make our imports more costly of other items other than oil. Just because we're buying oil at a lower cost doesn't mean we are importing everything else at a cheaper price. So, yeah, it does show India is doing better comparatively, but it's a very, very small margin at this point. India needs to do at a much faster pace to support the economy.
Right, Rahul, thank you for joining us from WION. We'll, of course, be tracking the story very closely here.
Thank you, Aisha.